Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning to all dear students. How are you? We hope that you all are fine with good health and iman. Today we are going to continue our first chapter of second year botany, homeostasis. And do you remember the term homeostasis? Yes, homeostasis means to stay the same. It is a regulative mechanism in which internal system or the metabolic processes are controlled or maintained by the body with regarding to the external environment of the body. Right? Good. Dear students, as we already discussed in our previous lecture that there are the three important aspects of the homeostasis. First one is the excretion, second one is the thermoregulation, and third one is osmoregulation. Right? Excretion is the removal of excess amount of water and the nitrogenous waste. Thermoregulation is the regularity mechanism of heat or temperature, right? In which there are the two different types of the tolerance, whereas one is the heat tolerance and other one is the freezing tolerance, right? Now the third one is the osmoregulation. And you know what? Osmoregulation is the maintaining of osmotic pressure of the body by the living organisms, right? Now the girls, osmoregulation in the plants. Osmoregulation is the regularity mechanism in which osmotic pressure of the body is controlled by the plants, right? Means that solute concentration and the water content of the body is controlled by the change in the environment. अगर environment में changes आती हैं तो उसकी वजह से body के internal metabolic process पर क्या असर होता है, उस effect की वजह से क्या metabolic processes stop हो जाते हैं या balance में रहते हैं, right? So balance or maintenance of the metabolic activities is very necessary. तो इस regularity mechanism को हम कहते हैं osmoregulation, right? तो plant में solute concentration और उसका water content जो balance mechanism है, अगर environment में change आता है, so that is called osmoregulation in plants. On the basis of the osmoregulation, due to the availability of the water, there are the four groups of the plants. One is the hydrophyte, which we already discussed, right? In which plants adapted to a freshwater habitat because hydrophytes live in the freshwater habitat. Xerophytes. Xerophytes adapted to a dry or the desert habitat because xerophytes are those plants which are living in the dry condition in the deficiency of the water where the temperature is very high and soil is very dry, right? Now the third one is the halophytes. Halophytes are those plants which adapted to a salt water habitat or they live in the marshy soil area, right? And the fourth one is the mesophytes. Mesophytes are those plants which adapted to a habitat with the adequate of water, means that there is no deficiency of the water or no the efficient amount of the water is present. There is a moderate condition, right girls? Now the girls, today's topic is the halophytes. Halophytes are those plants which are salt-loving plants. These plants are live in those particular areas where the salt concentration is high. Halophytes are live in the marshy soil area, right? And the example of the halophyte is the mangrove. And you know what? Mangrove is the beauty of the Karachi city, because we are living in the Karachi city and we have the coastal area near the sea, because in the Karachi city we have the coastal area which is the Arabian Sea, right? At the coastal area, mangroves are abundantly present, which is the beauty of the Karachi city. And mangroves are the example of the halophytes. Is this clear? हर सिटी में, हर कंट्री में ज़रूरी नहीं होता कि सी हो, कोस्टल एरियाज हो. So this is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have the mangrove forest at the coastal area of the Karachi city. Okay? Halophytes. Halo means salt and phytes mean plants. Halophytes are those plants which grow in the salty areas, right? Those plants which are growing in the salty or the marshy soil or the salty water area are called halophytes. Halophytes are salt tolerating plants. These plants live in the hypotonic environment, so the internal plant environment is hypotonic. To maintain the metabolic activities, plants processing, homeostasis and maintaining the balance between the two different conditions. First is the hypertonic condition and other one is the hypotonic condition. So plant balancing these two different conditions by producing the salt gland in their body, because plant absorbing the water which is salty in their nature, right? Plant इस तरह का वाटर एब्जॉर्ब करता है अपने एनवायरनमेंट से जिसमें सॉल्ट कंसंट्रेशन ज़्यादा होती है. अब हाइपरटोनिक कंडीशन से हाइपोटोनिक कंडीशन में सॉल्ट कंसंट्रेशन आ गई है, तो अब इंटरनल प्लांट बॉडी में क्या होता है? प्लांट प्रोड्यूसिंग द सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स. अब जो सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स होते हैं वो क्या करते हैं? सॉल्ट कंसंट्रेशन को मिनिमाइज करते हैं और प्लांट की बॉडी में एक बैलेंसिंग सिस्टम क्रिएट करते हैं, मेंटेन करते हैं मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज को, ताकि प्लांट उसी कंडीशन में, मीन्स दैट सॉल्टी और द मार्शी सॉइल वाटर कंडीशन में अपने सर्वाइवल को कंटिन्यू रख सके. ओके गर्ल्स, दिस इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू? ओके, दैट्स एक्सीलेंट. Halophytes is the group of the plant which is grow in the marshy soil or salty soil close to the sea or the coastal area are called the halophytes. Their leaves contain water storage cells. Leaves have thick cuticles which prevent the transpiration. They absorb water by active transport from the soil because soil contain high percentage of this salt. They produce the respiratory roots called the nematophores. They mostly grow on the seashores, forming the special type of the vegetation called the mangroves. Right? Example is mangroves, salsula plant and the rhizophora. Okay? Now the girls, question is arise when we are discussing the halophytes. The question is that what are the mangroves? So you have to keep this thing in mind that mangroves are those plants which are grow in the soil concentration. Mangroves are the plants that grow in the tidal areas. Mangroves are those plants which are growing near the seashore. They are salt tolerating plant. They are salt loving plant. They can easily survive in the salty condition or the marshy condition. The word mangrove can describe a single plant or it can be referred to the whole community of the plant. These plants are called the salt loving plants because they can easily survive in the presence of the salt concentration, because whenever plant have to need water, they absorb from their environment, and for the mangroves the environment is the salt concentration, salty environment. So plant are absorbing the salt concentrated water when plant internal environment is the hypotonic and the external environment is the hypertonic. So they continuing their internal metabolic process. For maintaining the process, they adopted a unique characteristics, which is they are producing the salt glands, right? क्या करते हैं ये प्लांट्स सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, राइट? ये प्लांट्स एक ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में मौजूद होते हैं जहां पर वाटर कंडीशन बहुत कम होती है, जहां पर ऑक्सीजन की अमाउंट बहुत कम होती है। तो ये प्लांट्स क्या करते हैं, सॉल्टी कंसंट्रेटेड वाटर को एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, फिर इनके पास सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स होते हैं, ये वहां पर अपने वाटर को क्या करते हैं, प्यूरिफाई करते हैं बाय देयर सॉल्ट ग्लैंड्स, राइट गर्ल्स? दे हैविंग द स्पेशल टाइप ऑफ द रूट्स, दे आर कॉल्ड द रेस्पिरेटरी रूट्स. For the process of the respiration, these roots are called nematophores. Keep this word in your mind that the respiratory roots are called the nematophores. They having the some pores on the roots which you are showing in the picture, which I am marking with the red color, which is pointed like this. These are the respiratory roots. These are growing against the geotropism, right? Because roots are growing towards the earth's surface, towards the gravity, but respiratory roots are growing at the upper surface of the soil. They having the some pores, and from these pores easily plant absorb or respire oxygen molecules and excrete the carbon dioxide in the environment. So these roots are called the respiratory roots because these roots are performing the function of the respiration. And special word, special term which we are using for these respiratory roots is nematophore. Right girls, you have to keep this word in your mind that respiratory roots are called nematophores. Okay? Now the girls, important characteristics of the halophytes. In the halophytic condition, soil is completely filled with the water and oxygen disappeared, as well as amount of salt is excess. They have following adaptations. The plants have cuticle on stem and leaves. Their leaves reduce rate of transpiration. These plants absorb water from such a soil which is higher salt concentration and low water potential. Right? ये प्लांट्स क्या करते हैं, अपनी लीव्स के ऊपर क्यूटिकल की थिक लेयर चढ़ा लेते हैं, फॉर्म हो जाती है थिक क्यूटिकल लेयर जो कि रेट ऑफ ट्रांसपायरेशन को रिड्यूस करती है. लीव्स क्या होती हैं, मोस्टली शेड ऑफ हो जाती हैं, नंबर ऑफ लीव्स रिड्यूस हो जाती है. और क्या होता है, ये प्लांट वाटर को एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं सॉइल से जो कि हायर कंसंट्रेशन होती है सॉल्ट की और लो उसमें वाटर पोटेंशियल होती है. राइट गर्ल्स? Halophyte actively perform the absorption of salt into their roots. Right? In the leaves of the plant, salt glands are present which help in the removal of salt and water from the body. Some halophytes absorb humidity, water vapors by leaves due to salt concentration. Due to the absence of the oxygen in the soil, these plants produce roots in air to absorb oxygen. These roots are called respiratory roots. They having the pores on the roots and they are called nematophores. Examples: mangroves, cord grasses, glassworts. Right? Okay. On the basis of the osmoregulation, we divided the plants into the four main categories. First one is the hydrophytes, which we already discussed in our previous lecture, right? Second one is the xerophytes. Third one is the halophytes. And fourth one is mesophytes. So what are the mesophytes? Mesophytes are those plants which are growing in the intermediate condition, in the moderate temperature and moderate amount of water. They don't have to need the large amount of water as the hydrophytes. They don't have to need high temperature as the desertic condition. They are not like the desertic plants which are suffered by the deficiency of water. They have the sufficient amount of water for their metabolic activities. So that's why we are using the term that mesophytes are the moderate plants. They are intermediate plants. They can live in the moderate temperature and moderate water condition and the moderate soil. Right, girls? Okay. Mesophytes. Meso means middle, intermediate or moderate, whereas phyte means the plant. Those plants which grow in the places which are neither very wet nor very dry are called the mesophytes. Right? Mesophytes उन तमाम एरियाज में मोस्टली द ट्रॉपिकल रीजन में ग्रो करते हैं जहाँ पर ऐसा नहीं होता कि बहुत कम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर प्रेजेंट हो, बहुत हाई टेम्परेचर मौजूद हो, या फिर ऐसा भी नहीं होता कि बहुत ज़्यादा वाटर अमाउंट अवेलेबल है और बहुत ज़्यादा लो टेम्परेचर अवेलेबल है. राइट? किस तरह की कंडीशन होती है? मॉडरेट कंडीशन. इज दिस क्लियर? सो दे हैव वेल डेवलप्ड रूट सिस्टम. Leaves are dark green and contain the abundant chloroplast. Stomata are present on the lower surface of the leaves. Their body is covered by the cuticle to prevent the loss of water. Right? Cuticle से covered होती है ताकि ज़्यादा amount water का loss ना हो जाए by the transpiration. Their stomata open or close according to the availability of the chloroplast or availability of the water. Their stomata are open close according to the availability of the water as well. Right, girls? Example is rose, brassica campestris, citrus, apple, and all those plants which we can easily see in our tropical environment, because Karachi is not the desertic condition or not the hydrophytic environment, not the halophytic environment. This is the moderate condition. So those plants which are growing in our surrounding, they mostly are the mesophytes, right? And because Karachi is the semi-desertic area, so in the Karachi most of the plants are the desert-like. So desert-like plants means xerophytes are also present in the Karachi city, right? And mesophytes are those plants which are grow in the moderate temperature, moderate amount of water and moderate availability of water के साथ इनके लिए availability of light, temperature सब चीजें moderate होनी चाहिए. Okay, girls? Now the girls characteristics of the mesophytes. Mesophytes can easily compensate the water loss by the transpiration through absorbing the water from the soil. If you people remember the Dixon theory of the transpiration pool, याद है आप सबको? Transpiration pool, Dixon theory, or the ascent of shape? Yes, that's good, right? Transpiration pool में क्या होता है कि जितना loss of water होता है उतना ही water by the plant's roots absorb हो जाता है, right? So following are the adaptation of the mesophytes. Leaves, these are comparatively thin and large. कैसी leaves होती हैं? Thin भी होती हैं और large भी होती हैं, which increases the surface area for absorption of the light energy or increases the rate of photosynthesis. Right, girls? Cuticle. As the leaves are larger, there will be excessive water loss. So, to combat this condition, a waxy cuticle encircles the epidermis. So, their body is covered by the thick layer of cuticle to reduce the rate of transpiration. Some mesophytes excrete out the water in the form of the drops by the hydrothores. This process is called the guttation. Now you have to keep this thing in mind that mesophytes can be perform the function of the transpiration because they can easily absorb the water from the soil and they can easily transpire the water from the stomata during the daytime in the form of the vapors, right? Whereas some mesophytes excrete out the water in the form of the droplets of the water through the specialized cells without the guard cells. And these specialized cells are called hydrothores. And the process is called the guttation. Clear, girls? That's very good. Yes. Mesophyll. It develops extensively and differentiate to aid gaseous exchange between the plants and its surrounding. Vascular bundle. It is a well-developed consisting of both xylem and the phloem connective tissues. Xylem help in the transporting of the absorbed water from the roots to the leaves, whereas phloem help in the conduction of the organic minerals or the around the plants. The vascular bundle allow the plants to keep water balance by enabling the conduction of water and the minerals from the leaves to all other parts of the mesophytic plants. Is this clear to all of you? प्लांट्स में वेस्कुलर बंडल मौजूद होते हैं जिसमें जाइलम और फ्लोएम होते हैं। जाइलम का काम होता है कंडक्शन ऑफ वाटर विच ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम रूट्स टू द होल प्लांट बॉडी, whereas phloem help in the conduction of the food material or the organic material from the leaves where photosynthesis takes place and supply or translocate the food material or the mineral nutrition to the whole plant body. Right, girls? Okay. Now the root system in the mesophytes are the well-developed structure that generally grow deep inside the soil that in turn provided encourage to the plant. It also allows for efficient water and mineral absorption from the surrounding soil. Besides this, it also comprises of accessory structures like root hairs and the root caps. Stomata. These are generally present in the lower leaf surface to slow down the excessive evaporation or to slow down the transpiration. The stomata tends to open all the time unless the plant is experiencing extreme water loss. Right, girls? Good. Environment. Mesophytes are those plant community of the terrestrial which can neither adjust in the too wet, right, the hydrophytes, nor in the water scarce condition like the deserts, steppe or the hills. Mesophytes require the moderate amount of the hot and the humid climatic condition and develop in the soil that provides average dry wet environment for the plant growth. They are growing in the high rainfall humid condition. Right, girls? Examples are daffodils, Vinca rosea, Rosa indica, mango, and all those examples which are come in your mind राइट। आपके दिमाग में जो जो एग्जांपल्स आ रही हैं जो कि हमारे प्लांट्स सराउंडिंग में मौजूद हैं वो सारे कौन से हैं? मेसोफिटिक। ओके गर्ल्स, now the girls, mesophytes are divided into the two main categories. One is the monocot and other one is the dicot. Now what is the difference between the monocot and the dicot? Monocot are those plants which are producing the monocotyledonous seed, whereas the dicot are those plants which are producing the seed which is depending on the two cotyledons, right? The basic difference is monocot and the dicot is one is having the monocotyledon and other one is having the dicotyledon in the seed. सीड एक का मोनोकॉटिलिडनस होता है और डाइकॉट का सीड कैसा होता है? डाइकॉटिलिडनस होता है। मोनोकॉट्स की कोई एग्जांपल दीजिए आप। यस, वेरी गुड, लाइक द मेज, like the millet, like the rice, all those the cereal crops are included in the monocotyledonous plant. Dicot की एग्जांपल दीजिए प्लीज। यस, वेरी गुड। फॉर एग्जांपल ग्राम सीड यानी चना। फॉर एग्जांपल द pea plant, फॉर एग्जांपल द beans, right? For example, the watermelon seed, for example, the apple seed, for example, the sunflower seeds. Is this clear? Melon seeds. तो ये जो वो seeds जिनके 2 cotyledon होते हैं, they are called the dicot, and जिनके 1 cotyledon होता है जैसे कि राइस, मेज, वो क्या कहलाते हैं? वो monocotyledon कहलाते हैं, right girls? मोनोकॉट की एक और पहचान ये है कि इनको आइडेंटिफाई करते हुए हम देखते हैं कि इनकी इलोंगेटेड बड़ी बड़ी लीव्स होती हैं इन विच पैरेलल वेनेशंस होती हैं, ठीक है, सीधी सीधी लाइंस होती हैं, वेन्स मौजूद होती हैं। जबकि डाइकोटिलेडन लीफ में क्या होता है? डाइकोटिलेडनस प्लांट में जो लीव्स होती हैं उनके अंदर पर्टिकुलर नेटवर्किंग होती है और वो नेटवर्किंग क्या शो करती है? रेटिकुलेशन ऑफ द वेन्स, रेटिकुलेशन ऑफ द वेन्स इन द एग्जैक्टली इन द लीव्स के अंदर जो वेरिएशंस होती हैं वो कैसी होती है? वो रेटिकुलेटेड होती है, एक नेटवर्क बना हुआ होता है, राइट? फिर उसके बाद अगर हम इनके सेक्शन कटिंग कर लेते हैं तो हमें समझ में आता है कि अगर मोनोकॉटिलेडनस है तो वेस्कुलर बंडल आर रैंडमली स्कैटर्ड, अगर डाइकॉटिलेडन है तो वेस्कुलर बंडल्स आर अरेंज इन अ, yes, very good, they are arranged in a circle or a ring like structure and forming the annual ring by the help of the cambium tissues, right girls? Okay, very good. Dear students, we are summarize the chapter homeostasis. You know what? Homeostasis is the regularity mechanism in which plants maintaining their metabolic activities, right? For performing the metabolic activities, plant have to maintain the internal environment when the external environment can be changed. अगर बाहर का environment change होता है तो plant को अपने internal environment को balance रखना है. That is actually the homeostasis. On the basis of homeostasis हमने पढ़े 3 एस्पेक्ट्स। पहला था एक्सक्रीशन, सेकेंड हमने पढ़ा thermoregulation, and the third one is the osmoregulation. Very good. Excretion is the process in which plants remove the excess amount of water and the nitrogenous waste, whereas thermoregulation is the process in which plants regulating their mechanism by controlling or balancing the temperature or the heat condition. और ये टेम्परेचर और हीट कंडीशन कौन सी हो सकती है? इट कैन बी द हीट टॉलरेंस और इट कैन बी द फ्रीजिंग टॉलरेंस, राइट? दोनों कंडीशन पॉसिबल हैं। ओवर हीटिंग भी हो सकती है और ओवर कूलिंग भी हो सकती है, राइट? एंड द थर्ड एस्पेक्ट इज द ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन, and osmoregulation is the controlling mechanism in which plant controlling the concentration of solute and water and regulating the function of the plant body or performing the metabolic activities. राइट गर्ल्स, अपनी मेटाबॉलिक एक्टिविटीज को प्लांट परफॉर्म करते हैं। अगर प्लांट के एनवायरनमेंट में किसी भी किस्म की चेंजेस आती हैं तो उस चेंजेस को प्लांट क्या करते हैं, अपने इंटरनल मैकेनिज्म को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करते, बल्कि उस चेंजेस पे रहते हुए ही अपने लिए कुछ एडप्टेशंस कर लेते हैं। वो एडप्टेशंस क्या होती हैं? ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन देयर आर द 4 काइंड्स। First is the hydrophytes. Those plants which are living in the water, they are called hydrophytes. They are called the water-loving plants. They live in the water and adapted to the water habitat. Right? अपने सर्वाइवल के लिए प्लांट्स क्या करते हैं? वाटर हैबिटेट को अडॉप्ट कर लेते हैं। Second is the xerophytes. Xerophytes are those plants which are living in the dry condition, in the desertic condition, where the water concentration is very low, water potential is very low, deficiency of water is present, and plants facing the high temperature. In that condition, in that xeric condition, plants performing or adopting some यूनिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स। एडोप्टेशंस होती हैं प्लांट के जो यूनिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, उसमें क्या होता है? प्लांट थिक क्यूटिकल चढ़ा देता है, अपनी बॉडी पर कवर करता है विद द थिक क्यूटिकल, ताकि रेट ऑफ ट्रांसपिरेशन डिक्रीज हो जाए। प्लांट अपनी लीफ का साइज रिड्यूस करता है ताकि नंबर ऑफ स्टोमेटा कम हो जाए। प्लांट अपने थिक क्यूटिकल के साथ साथ अपने रूट सिस्टम को वेल डेवलप करता है ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा प्लांट को एब्जॉर्ब कर सके। प्लांट अपनी बॉडी पर लीफ का साइज इस हद तक रिड्यूस कर देता है कि प्लांट के जो स्मॉल साइज के लीव्स होते हैं, दे कैन बी चेंज इनटू द स्पाइन्स, थॉर्न्स एंड द स्पिक्यूल्स टू रिड्यूस द रेट ऑफ द ट्रांसपायरेशन। एंड समटाइम इन द xerophytic कंडीशन, प्लांट्स ऑल्सो act as the succulents and store the water amount for the unfavorable condition. जब बारिश होती है तो प्लांट क्या करते हैं? अपनी बॉडी के अंदर वाटर को स्टोर कर लेते हैं फॉर द अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन, राइट। और कुछ प्लांट क्या करते हैं? बहुत ज़्यादा ड्राई कंडीशन में, xerophytic कंडीशन में एफीमेरल एंडोस्पोर कंडीशन बनाते हैं, एफीमेरल सीड में कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं। जब कंडीशन फेवरेबल होती है तो वो सीड स्टार्ट टू ग्रो करते हैं और वो अपने लिए न्यू प्लांट बना लेते हैं, राइट। उसके बाद हमने स्टार्ट किया था हेलोफाइट्स। हेलोफाइट्स आर दोज प्लांट्स विच आर लिविंग इन द salt concentrated area near the coastal region. They are called the salt loving plants. They are producing the salt glands. Their leaves become reduced. उनकी leaves क्या होती हैं? वो shed off कर जाती हैं। कम से कम plant पर leaves होती हैं। They are producing the respiratory roots which having the some pores. They are called the nematophores, right? Respiratory roots और इनके अंदर जो salt glands हैं, these two are very important function of the halophytes. Yes, halophyte की examples कौन सी हैं जो कि कराची में कॉमन है? Yes, very good. Mangroves. Mangroves are halophytes. Right. That's good. Right. उसके बाद हमने स्टार्ट किया mesophytes. Mesophytes are those plants which can be grow in the moderate condition of water and temperature and the soil condition, or the intermediate condition which not require the plenty of water or the wet condition like the hydrophytes, and they don't grow in the xeric condition. Desertic condition में इनकी requirement नहीं होती कि plant अपने survival ही ना करे और उसकी जो नीड है वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन की वही पूरी ना हो, ठीक है। तो मेसोफाइट्स क्या होते हैं? मेसोफाइट्स इंटरमीडिएट कंडीशन में ग्रो करने वाले प्लांट्स होते हैं। ये दो तरह के होते हैं, ये मोनोकॉट भी हो सकते हैं ये डाइकॉट भी हो सकते हैं। मोनोकॉट वो होते हैं जिनके पास एक कॉटिलीडन होता है, डाइकॉट वो होते हैं जिनके पास 2 कॉटिलीडन्स होते हैं, राइट। इनके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स मैंने आपको समझाए। ये था एडोप्टेशन अकॉर्डिंग टू द ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन। और मैं आप सबको यही कहूंगी कि ये चैप्टर बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि इनिशियल ही है और फर्स्ट चैप्टर है, तो आप सबको इसको अच्छे से रिवाइज करना है। और एडोप्टेशंस में अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो यू मस्ट हैव टू आस्क, राइट गर्ल्स। एंड आई डोंट थिंक कि आपको कोई सवाल हो। यस, सबको समझ में आ गया है, दैट्स वेरी गुड। Because homeostasis is with a very important chapter of the book. Second year botany का first chapter है, that is very important. And you know what homeostasis means? To stay the same. It is a regularity mechanism, right? इसके 3 aspects हमने study किए, ठीक है। 3 aspects: excretion, thermoregulation and osmoregulation. ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन की बेस पर हमने प्लांट्स को 4 डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड किया। कौन कौन सी कैटेगरीज थी? यस, वेरी गुड। हाइड्रोफाइट्स, गुड। जीरोफाइट्स, यस। और मेसोफाइट्स और हेलोफाइट्स, यस। दीज आर 4 डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज ऑफ द प्लांट्स जो कि हमने इस चैप्टर में पढ़ी। इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन, यू हैव any query, so you must have to ask from me. Thank you girls for listening me. Keep studying and keep smiling and work hard in the beginning of the session of second year. आप अभी से वर्क हार्ड करेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह आपको आगे बहुत आसानी होगी। एंड बेस्ट ऑफ लक, गुड बाय, थैंक यू सो मच। ओके, अल्लाह हाफिज।